Exercise P1-1 is the first exercise that we're going to be discussing. In this case, we just have a rectangular block that is 1 inch thick with a circular hole cut through the entire exercise. So, first things first, in Inventor, I want to click on the application button, which is the big I up in the corner, and then I will just go to New, and then it is done in inches, so I want to select English for my templates and then standard inch IPT and click create. Now once this comes up, it's going to be blank and it's not going to show me anything on the screen. At this point I need to start a two-dimensional sketch, so I'll click on start 2D sketch, and I'm just going to pick the top plane as the plane to start my sketch on. Now one of the things that's going to happen is you have to look up here at the view cube and verify that this is in the correct orientation, and right now its top is written vertically, so I want to click on this arrow right here to get it into the proper orientation. If I roll the wheel forward and backwards, it zooms in and out. If I push it down and move it around, it'll pan around, and I'll show you that once I actually create my object. Now for this object it's just a rectangle, so I will click on rectangle, and this yellow point that's at the center of the screen right here, that is my origin point. I want to make sure that I start every object on my origin point. So once I left click here, I'm going to drag this away, and I can see that I have text boxes that come up to define the size of my rectangle. So at this point I can type in 5.5, tab over, type 3, and hit enter. And what's going to happen is it's automatically all going to go blue, which means it's fully constrained. You can see all of the constraints that are automatically applied. And if I roll the mouse wheel away from me, it zooms out. If I roll the mouse wheel towards me, it zooms in. If I push the mouse wheel down and move it, it pans it across the screen. For the purposes of this exercise, this sketch is all I need to get started. So I'm going to come up here and click on Finish Sketch. Once you finish the sketch, you may need to zoom out and pan around so that you can see your object on the screen a little bit better. Here I've got the object, now I need to extrude it, so I'll come up here and click on extrude, and it's going to find my profile and my thickness is 1 inch, so I can hit the checkbox to say that that's what I want. Next, I'm going to use the hole command to put this hole in the center of this object. It has a diameter of 1, and it is centered in this box. So half of 3 is 1.5, half of 5.5 is 2.75. Since it is centered, there's some tricks that I can get away with in the hole command that I'll show you. So I'll go back over to Inventor, and I'm going to click on hole. Now what this is looking for is it's looking for 3 picks. First of all, my placement is linear. I have to pick a face and 2 reference edges. If you notice, these arrows inside these boxes are red. Once I actually select something, these will turn white to let me know that I've already selected something. So for the face, I'm just going to left click right here. Now I need to pick my 2 reference edges, and since it's centered, what I'm going to do is move along this edge until the midpoint comes up. Once that midpoint comes up right there, I can left click right there. Now for my second reference edge, I'm going to move along here until the midpoint comes up, and then I can click right there. So you'll notice that 1.5 and 2.750 automatically come up. I can now change the diameter to 1 and the termination to through all and say OK. At this point I've got my object complete. If I hold down Shift and push and hold the wheel of the mouse, I can orbit this thing around and I can take a look at it. If I hit F6, it goes to my isometric view. And again, rolling the mouse wheel away from me zooms out, rolling the mouse wheel towards me zooms in. Double clicking the mouse wheel will do a zoom extent, so if you accidentally lose your object somewhere on the screen, just double click the wheel of your mouse and it'll bring your object back to you. At this point you need to save the assignment, so I'm just going to go to the disk icon up here and click save, and then you'll save this somewhere where you can go back and find it later on. I'm going to save mine to the desktop, and I'm just going to call it P1-1 and hit save. At this point you would now go through and submit the assignment.